I think everybody knows the last number of years have been challenging for a variety of reasons, and your viewers don't need any history lesson. But obviously Brexit did make life challenging in relation to the relationship between the two islands.
How much damage did the Tories do to that?
Look, I don't want to get into kind of personalising it like that, but there was clear policy differences and difficulties and challenges over the last number of years. I had a very good professional relationship with Rishi Sunak. He was always very cordial to deal with. So this for me was never about personality.
When you spoke to the new Prime Minister, did you ask him when he's going to scrap the Legacy Act and what it'll be replaced with?
I did not, but I did indicate the willingness of my government to work with the British government and with parties in Northern Ireland in relation to legacy. I welcome the commitments that the incoming British government has given in relation to replacing the Legacy Act.
And presumably you will now, or the Irish state will now drop its case against the United Kingdom over the Legacy Act?
Well, no, I think we need to take this step by step. We obviously have, in fairness, a British Prime Minister who's just about on the door of Downing Street in the last couple of days, new ministers who've only been appointed. I'm very respectful of that reality. I welcome the commitment that the British government has now given in relation to legacy, and let's see where that brings us in the time ahead.
The Conservatives accused your government of hypocrisy on legacy because of the lack of criminal prosecutions here in the Republic of Ireland for Troubles-era crimes. They had a point, didn't they?
No, and you can see why I'm looking for a reset, because I think that sort of inflammatory language doesn't help at all. Everybody knows that we went through an extraordinarily difficult time on the island of Ireland. Everybody knows the pain that the Troubles and terrorism brought to people from a whole variety of communities and backgrounds.
Do you think this new government will feel more protective of the Good Friday or Belfast Agreement, given Labour's role and Tony Blair's role in negotiating it?
Well, I think there's no doubt that members of the incoming British government have a very good sense of Northern Ireland. Indeed, the British Prime Minister himself very familiar with Northern Ireland, and I very much welcome the appointment of Hilary Benn as the Northern Ireland Secretary of State, a very experienced, serious politician who again knows Northern Ireland, knows Ireland, and knows the importance of the relationship between the two islands.
And what makes you think that Keir Starmer and his team, his cabinet, his new government will be any better than what we've seen from London previously? What is it about Keir Starmer that makes you feel this optimism?
Well, look, it's not about me deciding anybody's better than anybody else. It's up to the British people to decide who's in their government. But what I do is take the British Prime Minister at his word. He is a man of integrity. He has won a comprehensive victory in the election. He is now the Prime Minister of our nearest neighbour, and I'm very eager to work with him.
All the main political parties here in Ireland are in favour of a united Ireland, including your own. But Keir Starmer says a referendum on a united Ireland isn't even on the horizon. Would you agree with that?
Well, again, I don't think it's any surprise that the British Prime Minister is a unionist and that the Taoiseach of Ireland wishes there to be a united Ireland in due course. The Good Friday Agreement allows us both have those legitimate differing aspirations, and there's a structure in place to address that. For me, though, the focus and priority isn't on a referendum.
I know you say it's not a priority, but then has the prospect of a border poll moved further away now, do you think, that this new government has come in?
I just don't think it arises currently. The most important thing here is that we have ministers back at their desks in Northern Ireland and that they get on with the work, and that the British and Irish governments as co-guarantors of the peace process play our role in supporting that too.
Something else Keir Starmer wants to get rid of is the Rwanda policy, and your government recently came out and said it was contributing massively to the number of asylum seekers coming here to the Republic of Ireland, in many cases via Northern Ireland, to try and avoid the potential consequences. Do you welcome him scrapping it? Do you think that will help mitigate the flow of asylum seekers coming here from the United Kingdom?
My view in relation to the migration policy of any country is it's up to any country to decide its migration policy. The legitimate concern that I have, and I'm quite sure the British Prime Minister has, is making sure we protect the common travel area. We have this unique relationship between our two islands, between our two countries, in terms of the common travel area where people can move freely, and it's so important that the common travel area is always protected from any abuse.
If Keir Starmer, as you clearly hope, proves to be a good friend to Ireland, would you reciprocate by being a strong voice and an ally to the United Kingdom within the European Union? Because we know he wants to have some sort of renegotiation of the trade deal, the post-Brexit deal with the EU. Could you then reciprocate and be a strong voice for the interests of the United Kingdom to your partners in Brussels? Wouldn't that only be fair?
Well, Ireland will always be an ally of Britain having a closer relationship with the European Union. It is obviously important that Britain and the European Union continue to be good neighbours, and it is absolutely in Ireland's interest that we facilitate that in every way we can around any European table. Like, Britain and Ireland share a very similar perspective on many issues, and I absolutely think, should it be the position of the British government in the time ahead that it wishes to improve relations or it wishes to have closer relations in any area where it makes practical sense, of course Ireland will be an ally in that conversation.
Do you think there'll be any willingness from Brussels to renegotiate that deal, though? Because it was always a bit of a red line previously. Do you think maybe not the whole agreement, but certain elements within it, perhaps veterinary arrangements, things like that, that may ease the issue of the Irish Sea border? Do you think there's, from your discussions in Brussels, there would be any kind of openness to an approach from Keir Starmer and his government?
I do absolutely think there would be a fair hearing for any proposal that the British government, or indeed that the EU has, about ironing out practical issues in terms of having a relationship that works. You know, Brexit has happened. The people of Britain have made that decision. But absolutely, is there space to have a veterinary agreement? Is there space in terms of student mobility? Is there space to work closer together on issues? I think there absolutely is, and I do think there would be a willingness in Europe to have those conversations in due course, should that be the wish of the British government.
Taoiseach, are you supporting England in the Euros?
I wish England very well in the Euros, and I know we now have a British Prime Minister who is it fair to call him a fanatical football fan, but certainly a very significant football fan. So I wish England very well. The British-Irish relationship is really strong, and let me say this: politics aside, and the challenges of politics, at the end of the day, we're neighbours, we're friends. In many cases, we're family as well. And there's an opportunity now, a real opportunity that we must seize, and that the next generation will never forgive us for if we don't, to press reset, to say, yes, it's been a difficult few years, but you know what? We've so much more in common than divides us. We have so many issues of mutual concern. We are two islands side by side. Let's work together and let's fulfil the promise of the Good Friday Agreement, and a Good Friday Agreement that I know is very much in the DNA of the British Labour Party, and is something that I really, really want to talk to Keir Starmer about.